I believe that the foundation and discipline one grows up on greatly influences the work they do in the future. It is because of this belief in my interest in Bruce Lee that caused me to research Jeet Kune and the influence Wing Chun had on it. Before I move on, I'd like to speak a bit about Bruce Lee's master, Ip Man, and the style he taught Bruce Lee, Wing Chun. Ip Man was 13 years old when he started learning Wing Chun, but after 3 years, his master died. Fortunately, he moved to Hong Kong and was lucky enough to find another master to train under. By the time he was 24, he had become tremendously skilled at Wing Chun. It wasn't until many years later that he opened his Wing Chun school in Hong Kong that Bruce Lee eventually attended. Wing Chun is a concept-based Chinese martial art and form of self-defense utilizing both striking and grappling while specializing in close-range combat. Wing Chun gives one structure and balance high importance. With the proper structure, a practitioner should easily be able to deflect external forces or redirect them, while still being able to apply devastating force. Also, a well-balanced body is considered to be able to recover quickly from stalled attacks, allowing the structure to be preserved.
Empty your mind in forms, shapeless, like water. When you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow, or it can crash. In water, my friend.
Bruce Lee was born in San Francisco, but when he was about 3 months old, his family decided to move back to Hong Kong, where he spent his teenage years. Growing up in the gang-infested post-war Hong Kong, Bruce Lee was often forced to fight. Because of his involvement in several street fights, his parents decided to make him train in martial arts. Bruce Lee's first introduction to martial arts was from his father in Tai Chi. At the age of 13, he began training in Wing Chun under the famous master Ip Man, which lasted about a year or so, but he then continued his training elsewhere, privately. Many years later, in 1965, Bruce Lee fought in a match against Wang Jack Man, where he believed that the match had lasted too long because he had failed to live up to his potential using Wing Chun techniques. He believed that traditional martial art techniques were too rigid for street fights. He then began to develop Jeet Kune, also known as the way of the intercepting fist, which is a philosophy. Bruce Lee said that one should absorb what is useful, discard what is useless, and add what is essentially your own, making the style unique to the individual practicing it. With Jeet Kune, he wanted to free his comrades from bondage to styles, patterns, and doctrines. When Bruce Lee began to develop his Jeet Kune, he used Wing Chun as the foundation. The core concepts of the style, which include central line control, vertical punching, trapping, and forward pressure, were derived from Wing Chun, but he quickly started to conform to a more flexible style by introducing ideas from boxing and fencing. Using the idea of no way as way and no limitation as limitation, Bruce Lee tried to break down the barrier of restricting oneself to one style and tried to bring forth the mentality of adapting to the environment and using whichever style fits best. Dana White, the president of UFC, called Bruce Lee the father of mixed martial arts, and I have to agree with him. When I initially decided to look into this topic, I assumed I would discover that Bruce Lee's Wing Chun past would greatly influence his own Jeet Kune style, Jun Fan. But what I discovered was that, even though Wing Chun's influence was present, it wasn't the only martial art that affected Bruce Lee.
To me, ultimately, martial art means honestly expressing yourself.